So today we're going to hit a whole bunch of news, right?
Yeah. What do we got here first?
We do it in the most unorganized and non-sequential way possible.
Well, no, we can just start from the top and work our way down. Okay.
Like I said, the most unorganized and
Start from the top. Here's the link for the first one. The Powell Group has sponsored this show in San Francisco for the last 2 years, like you said, since the very beginning. The Game Accessibility Conference. But this one's in Europe, so this one's a little different.
This is awesome. And a good friend of mine was one of the starter founders minds behind this. Her name's Tara Volker. She's actually over at Minecraft and on the at Microsoft on the Mixer team now. But it is a very good cause. You know, there's so much to be said for, you know, gaming accessibility, and you know, our industry isn't just, you know, the fanboys that it was 20 years ago. You know, it's everybody. And you know, there's a lot of ways that you can go and make your game more accessible to people who are handicapped, who have even like colorblind, you know, blind, you know, deaf. There's a whole range of things that you can do. And you know, one of the best talks that I've seen, you know, that was there last year was Tara actually went through, because she used to work down at Turtle Rock Studios, and they did a update to one of their games. What was the I can't remember the name of it. Bear with me a second. It's not Left 4 Dead, but it's the game where you had like people hunting the monster, and one person was the monster and the rest of them had to, you know, hunt them down. Evolve. That's it.
Yeah, the asymmetrical. Yeah.
They sat down and did an accessibility patch to Evolve to make it, you know, easier on people who were colorblind and had another couple of other sensitivities. And the changes that they made in the game actually ended up becoming, you know, the default settings, because so many people who didn't have, you know, a particular disability loved it. And, you know, it bettered the game overall. So they're doing for the last few years, they've done it in San Francisco around GDC. And now they are doing one in
Paris
in
October.
So I'm very happy about that.
They're going to be discussing, and this is something from Microsoft, the adaptive controller. Let me put a link to that. I didn't have that in there. I'm going to put it right in the FAQ here, right underneath this. The adaptive controller for Xbox, which looks amazing. If you check out that link, there's a little video that's within there too. Let me see if I can.
It looks like a turntable.
It does look like a turntable. It looks like you're going to lay down some fat beats. But we could actually watch this video if you wanted to.
Yeah, dude, fired up.
Okay, let me kill this music right here. Boink. And there we go. It's in the way.
Introducing the Xbox Adaptive Controller.
It is not showing up.
We could watch this video, but we're not going to.
White console with 2 round pad, a plus control at bottom left, designed to make gaming more accessible.
Let me fix this real quick. Display capture, filters, properties, bam. Boop. There it is. That was on. Okay. I see what I did.
The Xbox logo. Introducing the Xbox Adaptive Controller. White console with 2 round pad, a plus control at bottom left, designed to make gaming more accessible. Connect assistive switches via 3.5mm jack. Colorful round switches plug into the back of the console. And connect joysticks via USB. The USB plug connects to the console side.
You just don't
Photo
see
plugs
companies go
connect
to this
the
level
back of the
effort
console.
for things like this.
Attached to a wide variety of mounts. Different mounts attached to the back of a monitor. Remap buttons with the Xbox Accessories app. Adjusting the lighting. Use Copilot to pair with a second controller. Create an experience that's uniquely yours. Different configurations. Learn more at xbox.com/adaptive-controller.
That's cool, isn't it?
That's
Xbox
bitchin'.
One, Windows 10.
And I can see like
Microsoft.
people
The
just
Xbox
using that
logo
anyways. You know what I
introducing-
mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing right there is what that is. But I can see like if you want to, oh well, I want to hook up a foot controller for buttons, and then I want I want to do this stuff with my hands and this stuff, or even if you are not handicapped. But I could see how like that could help people that they have limited mobility, or maybe they're missing fingers or their hands, or they can't move their hands correctly. I have some good friends that don't have hands, or that they can barely they can't do a keyboard because they just don't have the mobility. So I think that's cool. I wonder if it's going to be compatible with the PC though, or just Xbox.
I would imagine it is.
I would imagine eventually, but that I've
Hard as they're
seen
pushing to do, PC, Xbox, cross compatibility and things. I can't imagine that it's not going to be.
that there'll be
across the
some
board.
Microsoft app that I mean I've seen other controllers that are like that, but not to that extent. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so there's an interview that Game Industry, is it GameIndustry.biz did with Tara about everything that's going on the accessibility side. One of the cool things they had at the conference was they had different systems set up with controllers or some sort of inhibitor on there that lets you play as someone with a specific disability. And so you could feel what it was like to try to play a game. And it goes, beyond that. One of the streams that my son watches about Legend of Zelda, there was a 10-minute, I don't want to call it rant, but it was close to a rant, with the guy was playing one of the levels where you have to, when you're in the temple and you have to like balance the Wii to make the platform move. And he said I absolutely hated playing that level because
Dude, we
of
just got a
time.
subscriber,
I
Vitriol.
was sick.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
So
That's
the
awesome.
they were. He said I couldn't even play the game. He said because my hand was in a cast, and so it's not necessarily just people who have permanent disabilities. It's good all the way around. Anyway, it's a subject that is close to our heart because we've been sponsoring them for the last 2 years, and I'm very happy to see them expand out and be in Paris this year.
Yeah, that's really cool. Are you gonna go? Are you sponsoring that one? Is Powell Group sponsoring that?
We will probably sponsor it. I don't think I'll go. That's nothing against them. It's just that's the
But don't you want to go to Paris?
I honestly,
Thank you
I've
for the
never had a
follow too,
raging,
man.
I've never had a raging desire to go to Paris.
Really? You don't want to go to Venice or?
We used to do Milia years and like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and that was in Cannes in France. And I'll never forget. It's like, I found out we were going, and I was, much younger, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna go over to the, the French Riviera. It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be, all that stuff. We get over there and it's February, and it literally snowed while we were there. The good news is apparently Cannes' economy like just completely depends on the film festival that comes through. So I was able to buy this very nice coat, waterproof. It's like what you're supposed to wear if you're sailing in the North Sea type thing. And I got it for nothing because it was off season. But yeah, it wasn't exactly the summer retreat I was expecting when it was snowing in February.
Retweet. Vitriol said that they heard about us through a gaming mailing list. What gaming mailing list was that?
That's the email I was writing as I was completely and utterly distracted.
The gaming mailing list?
Yeah. Yep. It's a email list that I've been on for years, and I'm pretty much like a lurker on there. But it's run by some super, super awesome people. And I think it originally started out of Stanford.
Never. You're French, by the way, too. So you can go
Where
to
are you
this then.
from?
Stanford.
Yeah. Where are you from in France? The coolest part of that show I went and the
Oh, he's the creator of the list. Nice. That's cool.
oh, I won't share any real names.
21 years in California this week. I'm sorry. No.
That's
No, California is awesome. I live right above California. I'm like 10 minutes from California.
all right. So I'm going to share my one from story from that show that I feel safe to share at this point. When I was there, I was probably only like 3 or 4 years out of college, and I went to the University of North Carolina, and I had a big college ring on at the time. And so I go to this like little tucked away, it wasn't a dive bar, but it was the quintessential pub in France. Tiny place. There was one guy, every time I went in there, he was bartending, and the dude could be taking your order, changing the music, and he was cooking crepes the whole time on this little hot plate behind the bar. It was awesome. Well, he saw my ring and he goes, Michael Jordan. And I'm like, yeah, because Michael Jordan went to my university. From that point on through the rest of the week, I was like the guest of honor in that pub. And the last night that we were there, he goes, come on, we're going to take you we're going to take you to a party after hours where all of the like local bartenders go when they get off work. And he had a Mini, like a straight up Mini Cooper, not the new ones, but the old school one. And if you've ever seen Ronin and that chase scene in there, that's what I felt like we were in. Is he's just like flying through these, side streets, and it was awesome. It was a great experience, and where you just, it's one of those international things where you go and you meet people that you completely don't expect, and you have a great time. And so, yeah, and that night had repercussions the next day that we'll go into on a different show.
Vitriol, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thanks,
man. I appreciate it. We
spread
appreciate
the word. Give us feedback.
Yes, enter to the giveaway there, ! Giveaway, or tweet it out. I mean, if you already have it, give away. Bam. If you're still here, probably not. Where's PUBG? Let's jump in. PUBG.
So what do we got next?
We have we've been moving through this crowdfunding in video games here. Let's post the link. This is another, you know how we love that Gama Sutra. This talks about the way that crowdfunding is going for video games on Kickstarter. So like how much money has been raised. 2018, $9,819,000, 214.
That's not a lot.
That's well, in 2017, in the second half, that was 7 million, and in the first half of 2017, it was 9,477,000. So it's a little bit better than actually the past 2 years. But in 2015, it was at 21 million, and then the big time was 2013 when it hit 28 million.
What year was the Star Citizen year?
I think that was 2013 or was it 2015?
I don't know. I know it was one of those skewing numbers.
So the total amount of go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying you just had someone on your stream last night that was going to Kickstarter.
Right. And Stephen Lucerne, and from the publishers Poisky Productions, the game is Meeple Station. His other game was Regions of Ruin, which I love that game. I've got quite a few hours in that. I've played that multiple times from the very beginning.
I have to go look and make sure it's the one I think it is.
It's the side-scrolling castle you build.
Yes, I did like that one.
That game was effing awesome. And you know what? When they first sent it to me, it was so hard. I'm like, dude, this is way too hard. You would just die from the very beginning. I'm like, this is just way too hard. And so that's cool. I mean, they hand it out to streamers and they get feedback and that kind of stuff. So the total for Kickstarter, total amount of money pledged so far in 2018 is the highest it's been in 3 years. But
that's awesome.
The total number of projects per semester, it's the lowest that it's been ever. In 2018, the first half 723. The year before, the 2017, Skype.
Sorry.
It was 826, and then in the first half of 2017, 869. But I mean, it's like the lowest amount of games, but the most amount of money. So that's kind of cool.
That's good because it means that it's less saturated, and so the companies that are on there with good projects that are well articulated have a better chance of succeeding, and it's not just a whole bunch of crap out there.
Here's something interesting though. The highest success rate it was in the first half of 2013 at 24%, and then in the second half was 23%. Everything else all the way up to the first half of 2018 is less than 23%, but 2018 the first half is 23%. So it's just as high as it was in 2013. I mean, the differences are, you know, it's like 20%, 18, 16% in 2015, but still, I mean, that's better. That's the percent is more, but there's less games. So more of those games are, you know.
And hopefully we've seen a turnaround on it. I mean, I think Kickstarter is a wonderful thing. You know, I think that too many companies, too many developers rush to it before they're ready, and you know, either
basically they need
what they're getting into.
They need a Kickstarter for their Kickstarter.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, there's you know, consulting firms that completely specialize in helping you do Kickstarters. Our friends over at Houndpicked Games, you know, their big thing is, you know, helping people through Kickstarters.
Right.
But, you know, from not having a good idea of where you want the game to go to not accurately projecting what your actual costs are going to be, you know, there's a lot of pitfalls that these developers can, you know, fall in. And when they fail, it gives everybody a bad name, because it's got to the point where it's like, I'm not going to kickstart this because either it's going to fail and I'm never going to see my money again, or, you know, it's going to go through and be done. And if it is, then fine, I'll buy it then.
Right.
You know, and so it's you know, I'm hoping that we're seeing a maturation of that market, because I love the premise of Kickstarter. I want to see people succeed on it, but I also want, you know, people to understand what they're getting into and, you know, make a good pitch going into it as well.
Yeah, because I mean, like it says, 60% fail. 60% fail. So 2 out of 3 basically fail. Basically. Not exactly.
The rate for development studios and games that fail is even higher than that in general. You know, so.
Yep. That's crazy. But yeah, Kickstarter. The Kickstarter. Oh, here we go. GDC 2019 announces call for papers. Submit your talks now.
Yeah.
So if you want to do a talk at GDC, there is the news for that.
You know, or you could do what I did and got fed up of doing submissions, and so I just started a Twitch show. So
so if they accept your submission, do they just like, what do you get out of it? I mean, of course you get to speak, but then you get like a free ticket to the show or something.
You get one of those $2,500 passes. You get an all access pass.
So you can do everything, which is, you know what? The $2,500 pass is neat, but how in the hell are you going to do everything? You can't.
Yeah, and it gets back to the dichotomy of GDC. You know, it's, you're going to give me, if I'm there lecturing, you give me this pass that lets me get into everything. Chances are I don't need to go hear everything. You know, it's most of the people who speak at GDC, you know, I can pick up the phone and call if I need a question or something like that. So it's the benefit of submitting and getting accepted is less about the pass that you get and more about the networking and the opportunity to present yourself as an expert. It's a very, very big thing on a brand building side and on a networking and, you know, even biz dev side. That to me is more important than the fact that they give you an all access pass.
Yeah, because the all access pass, I mean, you get to go see other talks.
Yeah, I mean, you can get the basic pass and get into the show.
And
It's,
you know what?
not
I
as
like
much
talks,
that
but
as
whenever I went to GDC, it's always been about there's just like a few talks that I want to go to. Most of the time, I want to be out on the floor, meeting people and getting contacts and building some kind of relationship. People say networking. Networking is really kind of a business term. To me, networking is a little bit different than just trying to make yourself successful in the business world. Networking is more about, you know, making friends and building some kind of relationship with people as well. People think networking, oh, that's bad. Well, it depends on how you do it. If you're just out there just to be successful in whatever your business is, maybe that's not so good. But if you're out there building relationships and friendships as well, that's what I'm talking about.
And, you know, just a dirty little secret, those relationships and friendships are how you get the business end and the networking end and that sort of stuff now. Thanks for the follow.
Yes, thank you so much.
Listen, I'm not even going to try to, I'm going to call you Gum. I'm not going to try to pronounce that first word.
Gum. I'm going to make that actually bigger. The alert, because the alert's a little small for my face. I go.
But I mean, that's the reality. And, you know, we can get into the whole, is it fair? Is it not fair thing? But, you know, that's how you get business done in this industry, is through friends and through your network and that sort of stuff. Okay. Now I just got an email back, so I know who that was a minute ago that popped in. And that's who I thought it was, but I wasn't going to throw his name out there on the stream.
And you know, me working with people online is fine, but meeting someone face to face and getting even to spend 5 minutes with them, it just kind of tightens that relationship.
Yeah.
Tighten it. What do we got next, Jay? Wait, let's well, okay, I'm gonna move this one up here. Submission deadline for PAX, because we're talking about submissions.
Oh, there's another one too.
Submission deadline.
Go ahead and talk about that one.
Okay, let me post.
Oh no, maybe that was the other one.
That is
the other one. The mix booth.
The mix booth right there. Yeah. What is the mix booth exactly? Because I don't know what that is. Let's look at it.
So mix is another one like the Indie Game Mega Booth, and there's a third one that I can't think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
But they come together and they help indie teams, you know, with a lot of the logistics involved of doing, you know, one of these shows, which if you've never had a booth at a show, it is a very interesting experience, because you go through, and I know in LA at E3 anyway, and I'm pretty sure it's the same at GDC, you know, there's unions involved. So it's like you're sitting here going, oh, I'm just going to plug this in. Well, you're not allowed to plug that into the outlet on the wall. Somebody from the union has to come do it. And you have to, you know, pay for, you know, the specific booth. You know, there's a rate.
It's a lot.
10 booth, and it gets expensive. It gets super expensive. And so, you know, Indie Mega Booth has done this. Mix does it, and there's another one that I can't think of off the top of my head who it is. But
Indie Game Mega Booth.
No, that's what I said. Indie Fitness. Yeah, we know them. They're like one of the first ones.
Right.
But you know, they come together and they provide the space, and they take care of all of the logistic stuff for you. So all you have to do is show up with your game, with your PC and your setup and that sort of stuff, and you know, play with the fans and do meetings and what have you.
Presented with Raw Fury. Raw Fury is
they're a publisher.
Yeah, but they're like I feel like they're around, their visibility has increased quite a bit lately.
Yeah, it has.
Are you on the page of it? Look at the logo. I love that logo. It's a controller that's all goopy. It's pretty awesome looking.
I'm looking.
Like a septic booger joystick.
Oh, you know, it took me a minute to figure out what that was.
It's like the joystick's going into a mouth.
It's like a joystick meets Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, Garbage Pail Kids. And it's dripping goop. And the Raw Fury little logo guy is cool.
So this is actually going to take place. It's not going to be in the hall with PAX West, it's they're doing a separate area in a theater near Pike's Place. That's pretty cool.
MediaExchange.com. So that's interesting.
So
So
I know the guy that runs this.
Scooter
Maybe we should
Squirrel.
get
Scooter
him
Squirrel says,
on.
Jay, I like the beard, man. He's about halfway to this right here.
No, I can't. I tried that. But mine just goes and like goes straight out from my face. And so I had to
You got to blow dry it.
I'm not gonna I don't blow dry my hair. Why am I gonna blow dry my beard?
It just takes a second. Maybe a quarter of the way. That's funny.
So yeah, I'm going to I can't go the full, old fisherman look that Andy can pull off.
Fisherman, this is Santa. I mean, it's going to be Santa soon with all this. So what's cool is that Honeys and I are thinking about moving up to Washington. I mean, we'll still be a few hours away from Seattle, but we're thinking about moving up to Spokane.
They have volcanoes there, right?
I know, but it's Spokane, and cost of living is a lot less. We could get a big piece of property, like 10 acres, with like a 5-bedroom house, or that is really, really nice for like what ours is worth down here. And ours is, we just have a 3-bedroom small house in a neighborhood.
See, don't get a big house. We downsized houses when we moved up here.
Yeah, but we're gonna have
then like people are gonna want to come visit.
No. We'll have myself, my wife, my daughter's fiance, my granddaughter, and my wife's dad. We'll all be living there. So.
Oh, wow! Best of luck with that, Andy.
well, my father-in-law lives with us right now. He's easy maintenance. Oh, okay, all right. Easy maintenance. No, it's pretty awesome living with him. He makes jerky. We have so much salmon, smoked salmon here. I mean, we have like containers full of. That's why I get out. Oh, I'm hungry, and then just eat a whole bunch of smoked salmon.
I'll send you my address.
It's good stuff. We've got a whole bunch of freeze pack seals. He's like, he's got 2 smokers, and he loves to cook meat, which is awesome because my wife doesn't cook very much anymore. But
I like the way you mumbled that.
Oh wait, I forgot to do something.
Scooter, do I know you? Give me a hint as to who you are, because obviously I don't know. I don't know Twitch handles.
A Twitch handle host. Yay! Thank you for hosting.
Hey, Erica! Awesome.
All right, Phantom Compass. Is that a game
We
or
talked
a
about
studio?
that a couple of weeks ago. Somebody had a pinball game, and I was like, "Hey, I worked with the folks that did, Rollers of the Realm," and that's who Scooter Squirrel is. Erica is awesome.
So you're gonna send us pinball machines? Is that?
No, they weren't pinball machines.
Oh.
It was an RPG.
Rollers of the
in a
Realm?
pinball. Yes.
An award-winning
Very
blend
cool.
of pinball and role-playing. Auto age standoff.
I have an awesome story about Erica
Ooh.
that I can't say right now because it'll be like obvious as to who we're talking about. But she put on one of the most impressive displays in front of the CEO of a publisher I've ever witnessed in my entire life. It was all I could do to keep from chuckling and walking out of the meeting.
That's awesome. Oh, you can send a key? I will take keys. Oh, look at what I got, Jay. Let me show you. Oh. Come here. Ah. Here we go.
Don't pull something trying to get there.
Dum dum dum.
Oh, nice. Very nice. I tried to get our Vive working last night so my son and I could play a little bit, and it didn't happen. That's
There's
the one
some
thing
really
that
cool
drives me
games coming out.
nuts.
Some really cool
It's-
games. I'm excited to get it going and move my
they're
desk
so
forward
finicky.
because I have a big green wall behind me. So if I can move my desk forward about 5 feet, I'm gonna have a bunch of room right here.
Oh, I've got an awesome setup for it. I just, it's whether or not we can actually get the Vive working.
Ouch.
That
Is that an
is the
older one
problem.
or?
No, but I mean, it's not hooked up all the time, and so when you do hook it up, it has to go through all kinds of setups and dings and beeps, and we have to restart Steam about 5 times and then restart the computer. So I'm going to try it again after the stream, see if we can get it going. But it's like if you keep it hooked up, it's perfectly fine. But if you don't, it's a
That's
complete
funny.
pain in the ass.
I'm also going to be trying out this right here, which is called Live Client. Well, here I'll just post it. It's the you ever watch the Saber? What is that called? Saber, the Oculus Rift Saber game,
Beat Saber?
Beat Saber. And you know how like
Yes.
that person looks totally immersed.
That's
in the
what I
game?
was trying to play last night.
So this is called Live. It's free. Let me put it right here, actually down here in the FAQ. So I'm going to try and set that up as well, where it looks like you're immersed in the game.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works. If not, All right, so the next thing here, Steam is temporarily withholding adult games.
Shocker.
We are not going to censor. And now we're withholding it. What is it? Come on. They just made a big deal about they're not going to. Now they're withholding them. What does that even mean? Why would they even do
They
that?
say they don't have the safeguards and the classifications or whatever in place to do it. It's typical Valve. It's, somebody caused a ruckus on the narrative story, and so they said it's all being banned, and then somebody else made a big fuss, and they're like, all right, screw it, we're going to let everything in. And then everybody's
bunch of
like, you're going
crap.
to do what? And now they're like, oh, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. So yeah, it's
They it's like, did they not realize it was going to be a flood of just garbage? I mean, people have
which is exactly why they, made like what little speed bump of barrier of entry it is to post something on Steam now anyway, because it was full of crap.
They're like, oh well, if we charge someone, what is it, $100?
Yes,
make it
that's
$500.
a joke.
Make it $500.
Yeah, that is exactly the price point that I thought and think it should be. And I know money is tight for indie teams, and I totally respect that. But at the same time, if you're doing this for financial gain, you need to be able to pay $500. If you're just doing it, to practice or for art, or it's something you're not looking to make a lot of money on, there are other options out there. I mean, you can put your stuff on Itch.io or, Amazon. Do we have the link in there about Amazon was busted selling pirated games?
Let's see.
Speaking of how easy it is to get stuff on Amazon.
No, we do not.
So apparently Amazon, hey, Super Jesse.
Hey, Super Jesse.
Amazon was selling games that someone had bought the actual game off of GOG, rewrapped it to make it look like they were the publisher, and then submitted it to Amazon, and it was being sold.
What?
Yeah.
Let's see. Is that in this one here? No, it's not.
I don't know if I actually put it in the notes.
You did not. Let me find it here. Amazon pirated games.
Yeah, here it is. I got it.
Okay.
Amazon briefly sold pirated copies of Frostpunk and Surviving Mars. Tangentially, Surviving Mars was done by a company who was my very first client.
Surviving Mars and
20-some years
Frostpunk.
ago.
I see it there. Oh wait, that's a different article than what I put up. But oh, that's in
Same news
Variety.
story.
You're going outside of Gama Sutra. What are you thinking? No. Fake news. No. Wow. I can see. I wasn't a huge fan of Frostpunk, but buyers would find Frostpunk for $2.99.
And Surviving Mars was being sold for $3.99.
How could they sell pirated copies of it?
Because there's nobody at Amazon that checks this crap. If you've got an Amazon account and you clear the initial hurdles of getting it posted, if you submit something that, looks legit, it'll get cleared. There's nobody that's actually sitting there and checking submissions, because you think that any sort of algorithm that's supposed to be checking this would go, wait a minute, this game only came out, it's being sold for $29.99 everywhere else.
So what they did is they took the DRM free. Hey, nice meeting you too, Scooter.
Take care, Erica. Give Tony my best. Tell hi, everybody.
Someone took the GOG version, the DRM free version of it, repackaged it with their own installer, signed and published by Ace Media Group LLC, and submitted it.
Yep. And there's open source installers. I think Wise is open source. So
I'm surprised no one did that sooner.
Well, I bet you they have. This is just the first people that got called.
I mean, it's a way to make a quick buck or quick $3.
But I mean, that's the reality. There's nobody that's actually checking this stuff. And I believe it was the developer who found it.
They picked a game that was too popular. I don't know. That's just wrong. I mean, I hope the person got busted.
I doubt it. I mean, they probably got their Amazon account suspended, but the DRM has its downsides. We all know that. But at the same time, this is a case where not having it is a definite problem. And it's not like Amazon caught this and flagged it. Reddit found it and went, that's not right. So at the same time, and it's tough. I know it is. There's no easy answer to this because you want the distribution level that GOG has, but there's rules that go along with it. But you need to be at least periodically checking in on sites like this to make sure you're not getting ripped off to this extent.
Right. Now, the developers, check this out. The developers behind Surviving Mars took to Twitter and confirmed that they were aware Amazon was selling the game for $3.99 as opposed to $39.99, saying that no updates would work with the pirated copies and advised players to steer clear of the counterfeit. Go ahead and buy it. But it's what I really like is the studio that made Game Dev Sim or whatever it's called. They made the game and they made another version of the game where no matter what you do, your game gets pirated. And then they uploaded that like right after the game came out to Pirate Bay or whatever. And a bunch of people downloaded it. A bunch of people were streaming it and getting pissed off about it. And they're like, eh. But, I guess that's a way to do it, Might do it first.
There's a whole list of, I saw it was like one of those BuzzFeed articles or something.
So just like a demo, might as well just upload your own version of it to.
Oh, I'll see if I can find it.
Have it where, like, in the middle of the game, the pop-up's all, What movie is that from? From a horror movie.
So, yeah, there's an article on PC Gamers about.
Hit me with that link.
About the best in-game piracy punishments.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Things that the developer put in there, basically to screw with pirates.
That's a really good idea. Piracy. That's and upload it like the day the game is released. Just upload it to Pirate Bay or whatever. Jurassic Park. Did Jurassic Park do something?
Jurassic Park. Oh, I don't know. The Jurassic Park Evolution has sold 1 million copies as of yesterday or this morning.
Really? What did Jurassic Park do, Zodian Kings? I'm curious about. Well, let's just Google it here real quick. Jurassic Park pirate.
Wow, these go all the way back to Command and Conquer Red Alert 2.
Jurassic World. Oh. What?
There's tons of wonderful, hilarious things that people have done.
What's your favorite
There's
one?
another one that I can't remember, but it's not even on that list. I don't know what it was.
A whole new world.
Anyway, so yeah. And the beauty, if you do something like this, you know, it actually ends up being a marketing.
A marketing, like
Plus
what they
for
did
you.
with Serious Sam 3. Serious
Yeah.
Sam, the developer, the Crow team, those guys are cool. I like those guys a lot. They made it to where there's a level, and then no matter what, you will die. You know, you cannot kill it ever.
Well, here's one on a different article talking about Earthbound, the old Super Nintendo RPG. Initially, the game tossed up an anti-piracy message. You know, if a check discovered you were running a cracked copy. If you decided to keep playing anyway, the game exponentially increased the number of random enemies in the game.
Right.
So it was just like you were end up fighting hordes and hordes and hordes of, you know, people. And then at the last battle, it froze the game completely and then wiped out all of your save games.
That's funny. Just wipe out all of your save games. That's funny.
So, I mean, there are things that you can do to prevent piracy, but one of the basic things that you need to be doing as an indie team is checking sites like Amazon and, you know, the secondary retailers where people can take, you know, your game and re-upload it
Right.
with a different installer, and all of a sudden,
especially if you release it DRM free.
but you have to do, if you're going to be on GOG, you have to do that. That's the rule. There's no option.
Right. Okay, what do we got here? Sean Rupra, what we've learned 1 year after releasing our first game on Nintendo Switch. I haven't read this article yet, but I'll post it here. What game is that? Have a look. We went through a lot of stuff.
Is this the one about Moonshiner? No, this is the
The
one about
Mambo.
Moonshiner. So yeah, they were extremely fortunate to get in on the front end of the indie wave of games on Switch. And I made a
It's a good idea. Did you hear what he said or see what he said? We should interview the Slay the Spire devs. That would be cool. We could certainly get devs on here, no problem.
I don't know if I know them.
Yesterday we had Heather, what's her last name?
Chandler.
Heather Chandler. She was one of the executive producers from Epic that worked on Fortnite from the very, very, very beginning. And that will be up on YouTube soon. So make sure that you're following us on Twitter to...
Well, isn't the video like on here somewhere?
It is on there, but what I do is download the video, edit it, and then re-upload it. So if you link it now, that link's not going to be there because the videos that are saved after so many days, they just go away unless you upload them. So
for those of you who are just joining and are new to the show, I know next to nothing about how the back end of Twitch and all this stuff works. I'm just the pretty one, and you know, Indy's the one that does all the real work. I just here run my mouth.
I thought I was the pretty one.
You can be the pretty one today. I did so, you know, along the lines of Switch, based on the conversation that we had last week when we were talking about, you know, Nintendo wanting to launch 20 or 30 indie games a week. So I actually dove into a bunch of data and create. I don't have I can put the link to LinkedIn where I posted it.
Yeah, do that and I'll pull it up.
Drop it in here. But I actually graphed out the number of games released by month across Steam and then all the consoles. And to kind of visualize how many it was. Now I got to find that link.
Thank
But
you
it's
for the
not.
follow. Well, the
It's not completely.
follow.
It's not unheard of, but we need to make sure that, or Nintendo needs to make sure that. Sorry, I'm looking for this link. That they do something to help the overall discoverability on the platform.
Yeah, big time.
Here we go.
I mean, and how are they going to do that?
They got to make it. I mean, it needs to be. Well, I mean, they still are curating it. You can't just. It's not like Steam or Xbox One where you can just like upload your game and you're done. I mean, you still have to get it approved, even if you have a track record of shipping Nintendo products. You still have to get your game approved to go on there. So, with that aspect of it, it is, going in the right direction. But, they're going to have to. I don't have the answer, frankly. I mean, it's the eShop has to be easier to navigate. And there has to be other ways to find stuff other than here's the new releases this week and here's what's been selling for the most, because that becomes a self-replicating issue, because the games that are in the top 20 or top 50 are going to increasingly get the exposure to stay in the top, and it becomes harder for everybody else to catch in. So what my handy dandy little graph there is showing is how many games have been launched per month by platform. So what is not in here are back catalog games. So like where you can go on PS4 and play the streaming games and Xbox One. That's not factored. These are simply new releases each month on retail and digital for the different platforms.
Interesting.
Steam's not retail, obviously, but and here I am pointing to my screen like everybody can see here what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, the Switch is, as you can see, since early 2018 and even late 2017,
Bloop.
the Switch is running second to Steam in the number of titles released. And that's only, hold on, I can cheat and pull up the actual spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm. What'd you use to make this little graph here?
A very, very complex and top secret tool.
No, it's super simple, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was Google Sheets.
Top secret tool of doom.
I paid a lot of money for it. All right, so the Switch, let me get down here. Starting in December, they are releasing, this is per month, not per week, but 64 in December, and then it dropped off 39 games in January, 59 games in February, 74 in March, 76 in April. May they had 91 launches, and June is 75. So theoretically, they're already in May. They did launch 20, but they launched 20 total games. They weren't all indie games, but it's not outside the realm of reason of what is going to like flood the market. But they do have to improve what they're doing in terms of making it easier for these indie games to be found, because we've seen from a lot of the news that we've shared and companies that we've talked to, there's a huge upside to going even mediocre sales on the Switch.
Well, what they need to do is like on their discoverability page, they need to kind of do what Twitch does. Twitch has their front page and it has like 6 live streamers or whatever. Then if you refresh it after 5 minutes, it's all different people. They need to like have it, bam, every time you look at it, it's different. But then again, how many times are you going to go and look at the Switch front page throughout the day,
Yeah, it's not something you're going to be going to, all the time. But I mean, I would like to see, more of that. Ideally what I want to see when I go to the store is I want to see games similar to what I've been playing.
Right.
I don't, if I've been playing Stardew Valley on my Switch, like for God knows how many hours I put in that, I don't really care about the next,
So have like a Netflix games you may like sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, things along those lines, and Steam does that. I know that requires some, algorithms and fancy math, but
that's cool. Welcome.
Fucking Nintendo, they can handle that.
Yeah, they totally can. I mean, but then again, it's like, how often are you on the front page of your Nintendo page?
But for small teams, for indie teams, if you're on there for a weekend, you're gonna sell
it's like
a lot
deal.
of units.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be fantastic. I love the fact that they're curating it, so you don't have as much of a chance of just trash being in there.
Poopy game.
But there needs to be some better ways for these teams to get discovered. Hi, Esco. God, I suck at internet names.
Esco.
It's like
wow. Okay, our next thing that we have here is Blizzard makes headway with toxicity issue in Overwatch. I mean, I just don't see that toxicity issue ever getting solved anytime soon. But
this one's near and dear.
Okay.
So we're working with a client right now who's in the early stages of building a tool that's going to do a whole lot of different really, really cool stuff for indie teams. And by the way, if you are an indie team, drop me a note either in here or on Twitter or somewhere, and I'll get you in the focus test and the surveys and all the early information gathering, so we can get your thoughts on it too, because we want feedback from as many indie teams as humanly possible. But one of the things that is in the focus testing that we're doing right now is tracking player ethics and toxicity and that sort of stuff. So what Overwatch did a few weeks ago is, I mean, at the end of the game, you can vote for one person for play of the game, but it only gives you like 4 people to choose from. And if your team did particularly bad, the 4 you're going to choose from are all from the other side. But, they have implemented a system where you can give kudos to people, basically. And it's like, you were a good sport or a good teammate, or the other one is a shot caller, somebody that was really good at helping on the tactical side during the fight. And so you can give these little awards out to people, or you can give nobody anything, it doesn't matter. You can't go through and say, well, this player was an asshole. You can't do a negative. You can block that person from playing with you for like 2 weeks, but you can't publicly do a negative. And so when it was originally launched, I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, there was a bit of backlash because people were like, oh, well, it's making people in Overwatch be fake nice. Okay. Is that bad? I don't understand why that's bad. But, through this system, and, you get a little rank up every time for certain whatever, as you go up in levels, and it's a little circular symbol, and it's got 3 colors on the outside that shows how many of the types of kudos you got. But just by implementing that over the last couple of weeks, they've seen a huge drop in player toxicity. And I play Overwatch a lot, and
I'm sorry,
I play competitive a lot, and I'm not very good, but I like it because I like it better than the random matches. But I've seen much less player toxicity. It's not like you don't have those players that are in the game, but they're not cueing their mic and calling people assholes, and just completely railing on them the entire time anymore. So I think it's a wonderful thing, and I think it's good that they're getting out and showing the data behind it, so encourage other companies to do it as well.
That's good. You can only say positive things, because if you say negative things, then that's what all of the assholes would do. They would just do it on purpose. They would just do it on purpose. Well, look at this. Epic increases. This is our last thing here we got. Unless you guys have any questions or want to talk about anything. You have numerous notebooks that you wrote about game ideas, never tried to make them yet. Well, that is what you need to do. You definitely need to make them. Sit down and make them. And if you don't think that you can make them, just look at this game right here. We talked about it before. It's called Unturned. This game is the second most sold game, or second most downloaded game on Steam. And that was made by a guy that's 15 years old. He made it all by himself. Okay, so the Unreal Marketplace, they increased the revenue split, which is pretty awesome. What are they going to get here? A significant increase on the 70% cut that's generally considered the standard. Marketplace sellers will be handed 88% instead of 70%.
Which is huge.
That is huge.
Absolutely huge.
With why the sudden burst of generosity, Epic CEO and founder Tim Sweeney has explained the success of Fortnite, which has amassed 125 million players in less than a year, has allowed the company to pass the savings along.
They have made $1 billion off of in-game purchases alone.
Yeah. Just this year, right?
They have made so much money that they can do this. And so it's awesome that, a company for whatever reason, says, you know what, we're going to give more back to the community and to the people who are making this stuff. That's fantastic, because we are kind of stuck at the 70-30 rule that I don't know who the first company was that did it. But that's what's become the norm for platforms. So that's, good in and of itself, but the fact that, they're able to go out and, support people like this, they're basically saying, look, we have enough money.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need, everything. And so we're going to reward the people that are helping us push our engine.
Yep. That's awesome. Oh, you had this other article right here. What is this? Shadowhand postmortem? Did you play Shadowhand?
I did not, but the postmortem, I just, went through and looked at, and it's actually
the developers
got some very good points in it.
I believe, if it's the game I'm thinking. Let me look really quick before I start spouting my mouth. Was it Shadowhand, right?
Yeah.
Yep. RPG card. I believe this is a husband and wife team. He came on my stream, and I'm not a huge card game fan. This is a really good game. He does the programming, she does the artwork. I believe. I could be wrong. But here's 10 takeaways from that. Pitch your project to more than one publisher.
Yes.
Don't just we're going to get this publisher and da-da-da-da. But make sure and research your publisher. This publisher might not, this is a card game, so you wouldn't try and, get a company that does, mech games. That's their focus to do this, because that wouldn't even make sense.
All right, I wasn't going to plug this because I was going to keep this completely separate, but since we're on the subject, so my firm, the Powell Group, we do biz dev and marketing and licensing support for developers, publishers, conferences, even service providers, and we're always trying to find ways to help the indie teams. And this show is actually a part of that. It's like we know that not everybody can afford to bring a consulting firm on a retainer basis.
Right.
And so what we have started, and the store should be actually live later today or tomorrow at the latest, I believe, is we've put together directories of the one that's ready now is PC publishers. It's not free. Sorry, but I have to make a living as well. But, for a much easier, pill to swallow than, thousands of dollars a month, going to a firm, we've put together lists. The PC one has over 250 publishers in it. We have their website, their LinkedIn page, their Steam Spy page, and the number of games that they've shipped, that sort of stuff. So it gives you the tools to go and do the research that you need to reach out to these folks. And there's actually a guide at the beginning of the book that has, this is how you go find a publisher. And so this is absolutely key to that. And we know that not every developer out there knows 250 publishers, and your game is not a good fit for 250 publishers. I can go ahead and tell you that. But we're trying to find ways to give you all out there the tools that you need to make good decisions. And so I don't even have a link to it yet.
But it's not live yet anyways, right? So
well, it's live, but PayPal hasn't confirmed, the payment part yet. So I have no idea if you can actually buy it, but the store is live.
But okay. Well, we'll have a link here soon.
We'll share links later. And good morning. Where is it?
Sunny's Lair. Sunny's Lair. What's up? So the next thing, number 2,
Australia, Asia,
is his budget. Pay yourselves and your contractors properly.
Yes.
Adelaide, Australia. Morning. Nice.
This is one of those business things, whenever, and I know a lot of teams get started on the whole premise of, come in and we'll work on this and we'll do a rev share and all that stuff. And it's very, very, very dangerous ground to be on. And so
rev share.
You want to make sure that you've got agreements with the right people. Even if you're all partners in it, you still need to have an agreement. And, by going and paying people what they're worth, you get better work. You get, a bit of loyalty that goes along with it. But, just make sure you understand how much stuff costs, and that it's something that you've got to factor in. If you want music, yes, you can get free music. But, if you want music that's actually built around your game and the story you're telling, you need to pay people to do that.
Yeah, because it takes time, it takes skill, it takes inspiration, and it takes a passion. You can do that, or you can just download, oh, this might fit, and then download that, and that's fine. But really, good music that really brings out emotion, that's super important. Okay, number 3, what do we got here? Make a realistic schedule and try to stick to it. What do you think about that?
This is
Jay?
what Heather was talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Having the planning and the project management side to understand, and we'll get into it with the Kickstarters and stuff like that as well, because if you don't understand, that's where I see a lot of Kickstarters fail, because they don't know at the end of the day how much it's actually going to cost, to get in there and do this stuff. But all of that boils up together. And so you need to understand, how to create that budget and how to build that realistic schedule and stick to it. And I'll give you a nice little spoiler warning. No matter how much thought you put into your schedule, you're not going to stick to it. I mean, there's going to be things that come up
Always.
that throw wrenches into it. But
Always.
if you have a plan, it's easier to manage that rather than just,
It's definitely good to have a buffer, though.
Here's how you wire everywhere.
Yeah, like it's because it's not like the old days where like this is going to Walmart at Kmart. Let's say that this is going to Kmart exactly on May 10th. So the game has to be done on May 5th or whatever, and there's no wiggle room at all. Now everything is digital. So if you set a goal we were just talking about this. If you set a goal for yourself, you can certainly, you don't have to. The only goal is basically for you to release the game. It's not for anything else. And you don't have to like crunch so hard to actually get it released, Gonna toss over a lurk. All right, thank you for the lurk. Mammoth, what's up, dude?
Hey, Mammoth.
Mammoth in the house. Don't forget we're having a giveaway right here.
Right,
you want to talk about
Mammoth.
I'm posting it. You want to talk about the giveaway?
Good to see ya. Was that good? Did I get it right?
Is that what he does?
Yes. But he has the awesome British accent.
How about this? Wait. It's
Good to see you. Good to see you.
It's got to be late for Mammoth. Well, it's probably like 9, 10 o'clock over there.
There we go.
Ridiculously late.
That's fine. All right, what do we got? Scope. Have you got the scope
wait.
right?
One more thing on
thing?
on Crunch and Launch. There aren't times of year that you have to launch anymore as a digital game, especially as an indie, but there are absolutely times of year you don't want to launch. And, that is basically November, December. You have to, even if your game isn't competing directly with, Call of Duty or whatever the hell's coming out, at Christmas, those are dollars that are being taken out of somebody's budget.
Right.
And so, a good time to launch. January is a wonderful time to launch because everybody, got money for Christmas or gift cards or whatever,
Yeah.
and they need to spend it on something. And so,
It's not a good time to launch right in the middle of PAX. If you're not there and you don't have a big budget for a massive booth, don't
and
launch.
don't do an announcement. Anyway, that's a whole nother story.
Whole
But so-
nother. All right, what are we looking at? Oh, scope. How long do players expect your game to be for the price?
oh God, that's always a tough one.
That is always a tough one. Germany bans pre-orders with no release date. Wow.
Yes. Yes, they did. That is so, now you can't say in Germany, and I don't know enough about German law and EU law to know if this will spread to the rest of the EU or not, but I like it.
Uh-huh.
You cannot put a game for sale that says coming soon. You have to give a date, even if it's like 3 years down the road or whatever. You have to give a date.
Wow. Can you change your date?
I'm sure you can.
So you just make
But I mean,
it for like 3
if they
years.
have
and
this
then-
law, then there's going to be. My guess is that it opens up lawsuits for people that say, "I paid this money for this game 2 years ago. They said it would be out a year ago. It's not here yet. Give me my money."
Mhm.
And a lot of places have the ability to do that anyway. But I can't stand ambiguous. This is why I don't get caught up in a bunch of the E3 hype. It's like, oh, Skyrim 6. Skyrim 6 isn't going to be around for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Easily. So why did you even show that other than the part that it's like, hey, we haven't forgot. We have Skyrim.
That's funny.
So, but yeah, I think that's a very good.
All right, publisher, we talked about that. Testing. Test when ready and allow time to process the results. In-house testing can also be a powerful development tool. Testing your game to show early in development and having the public play it is a great way to get feedback and test the core loop is fun. Like, for example, yesterday in my stream, I played Meeple Station, and the developer was there, and I'm like, I feel it should do this. I feel it should. He also did that with Regions of Ruin, and the feedback that I gave got in the game, which was really kind of cool. Really cool.
That was a cool looking game. I only caught the second half of your stream on that, but it did look like a cool little game.
Right. And I mean, it
all right,
was
so-
a super early vertical slice or whatever, but
All right, so testing. Yes, in-house testing can help, but you cannot rely on it. And there are enough options out there for testing. Everything from teams in Southeast Asia and in South America and Eastern Europe who work for much lower wages than we have here. To a friend of mine who runs a high-end firm that does testing for like Activision and that sort of stuff. But the classic story that in this I had this happen. We had a client who was shipping a game on iOS, and they sent us the build, and we were like coordinating it for the launch and the PR and everything else. And we're like, did you get it tested? And he goes, yes. And our lead engineer says there's no bugs in it. At which point I nearly fell out of my chair laughing because I love you guys, the programmers and the engineers, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to take your word for the fact that your code it has no bugs in it. It's like asking your mom if she likes your singing. Of course she does. She's your mom. And so, after they said we don't need to test it, the lead engineer said it has no bugs, and I stopped laughing. We sent it to get tested, and it failed the very first test that Apple puts on things. So in-house testing is good. It gives you a first wave of things, but you absolutely cannot rely on it.
right, because you're too inside of the whole project.
Exactly. Things. It's easy for you to overlook stuff. You're not doing what a normal player would do. And that's on the technical side. On the gameplay side, even, we had a game, this was years ago, it was going to retail, so there was no option of like patching it. You put it on a disc and you're done. And we played it, we tested it, and we're ready to go. We're like 48 hours, 24 hours from being done with this game. And a friend of ours came into the studio because we're all going out to lunch. Doesn't work in the industry. He's a gamer, but he's not affiliated. And we're like, hey, sit down and play this game while we're getting ready. And we hear him just like cackling, laughing, and we're like, "There's nothing that funny in the game." Sorry, I'm leaning forward. I'm readjusting, so I'm like right in the camera. And we went in there and looked, and he goes, "Did y'all know when you rub your hand on the groin of the character that it starts spraying pee everywhere?" And we're like, "What?" We'd already had this stuff gone through ESRB and PEGI and all of this stuff.
Oh man.
And you have to disclose, we had like a T rating on it. It was nothing that was anything mature at all. And here we were after all is said and done. And because we never got it tested by somebody who wasn't, involved in the project, we had no idea that was in there. And the developer thought it was hilarious, and they weren't going to change it. And our boss went absolutely
He is the game changer.
ballistic, but it's important that you have people play these games that aren't familiar with them, and
Right.
you have to take the feedback that you hear. You have to hear it constructively, even if they're like, "Oh man, this sucks." This sucks is not good feedback, but ask why. Get into that. Why don't you like this? What do you prefer? That sort of stuff. But it's inherently important that you get your stuff tested, not only for technical stuff, but for, gameplay reasons as well.
All right, you definitely want people playing that like just go into it. You want to not explain to them anything about the game. You want them to just pick it up and because that's the best way to get tested is somebody that has no idea, doesn't know anything about it, and has no, because I'll play a game sometime and the developer will be like, "Well, you can do this or you can do that," or, "Well, maybe I wouldn't have known that except for the developer just straight telling me I could have done that." So you want to have all those problems solved, and you don't want to rub your hand on your crotch and make your character pee all over the place. That's
Yes.
definitely.
All right. So wait, hold on. We got a question from Zodian Kings here. What about licensing? Are small indies set up as an LLC? All right. So that's like two different questions, possibly. Small indies, talk to an accountant. My company set up as an LLC, and there are pros and cons to how you set it up, either as a sole proprietor or an LLC or and this is in the States only. I have no idea what happens overseas. Or a C corp or an S corp. This is where you need an honest to God accountant, or lawyer to sit down and say, "This is what you need to do." But you need to have something, even if it's just a sole proprietorship, because it gives you a safety net. If something goes absolutely crazy, then and your company gets sued, they can sue your company, but you're okay. They're not going to come and take your house.
Right.
So you need to be set up as something. But clarify what you mean by licensing, because that can mean several different things. And we do a lot of licensing, and I'm a big fan of licensing and doing it correctly and doing it well.
A big friend.
We'll keep going through this, but let me know exactly what you mean, Zodian Kings. So what's next? PR and marketing?
Know your strengths and plan ahead.
Yeah. And most likely as an indie team, your strength is not PR and marketing. And it's good to have at least insight from people who have done it, because it's not the same as it was 5 years ago, even. You're not going out and sending out. I mean, you do send review codes out to websites and magazines and such, but it's not to the level of importance that it used to be. A lot of it goes around influencers and finding the right influencers and talking with them and engaging them. But you're better off having someone involved who can at least guide you in the right directions and say you should do this, you should do that. In best case scenario, you hire a firm to do it. And there's a lot of different firms out there. We had Nicholas and Demetrio on from Hourglass Technologies, and they do this stuff. They have big, high profile clients and expectations from them. But there's a whole spectrum of people that can help you with this. It is something that we highly recommend you getting support on.
Exactly. Definitely. I have seen a lot of games where the developer is great at that kind of stuff and great at doing social media and great at doing their own PR. But a lot of the times, you don't there's something to say about somebody that can handle your social media and knows how to, knows all the steps to get your game out and do the advertising and all the other different kinds of PR, because there's so much to do and so much to learn, and there's all the technology is continually changing, and if you don't know any of that stuff, you're going to end up spending all of your time just trying to do that while you're working on the game, and sometimes that's just not worth it at all.
And if you haven't done it, been involved in it, seen what it entails, I can guarantee you are underestimating how much time and effort it takes to do right. And by doing right, that doesn't mean writing a press release and sending it to Kama Sutra, because that does nothing. That's absolutely just out there to increase an SEO page, basically. But you need to talk to folks who have done it. How did they do it? What worked for them? What didn't work for them? But it's a big thing. Me and a good friend of mine had the constant argument. He's like, a good game will always sell. And I'm like, no, it won't. Because if you don't know about it, it's not going to sell.
Right.
And so
one of the things that they say is, as much money as you think it's going to cost to develop the game, you should definitely have that much money put aside for PR and marketing. I mean, that's what every professional PR person will tell you. You need to have that much money. It costs a lot. So what do we got here? Number 9. Oh, wait, number 8, launch. Plan your launch as much as possible. This says don't make changes to the build hours or minutes before launch, unless when you rub your crotch. Unless when you rub your crotch.
You're rubbing your crotch and making a pee on everything.
Right.
The launch is stressful. And I'll give you
get plenty of sleep beforehand.
I want to make sure it wasn't in here before I did it. Don't read the forums. That's what I learned when I started. I had been doing this for 10 years before I actually was in a spot where we actually launched our own games. And then I was like, read the forums and read the user reviews, and I would get so angry. And I'm like, but you, blah, blah. And then I was just like, you know what? I got to stop reading this. But yeah, launch is crazy stressful. You're going to have a whole bunch of stuff coming at you at once. The more places it goes at one time, the more stressful it's going to get. Plus launch means PR and marketing too. So you've got to manage all your PR and marketing and your influencer outreach and your social media outreach at the same time. And it's chaos.
And you have to keep that momentum, which is what number 9 is.
Yeah.
Make yourself available and keep that launch momentum. Keep that launch momentum going.
Even if you aren't doing anything, you don't have the capability to do anything at that time, just being responsive to people will pay you huge dividends. But, gone are the days where you can just launch a game and go, all right, we'll see y'all when the expansion comes out. Everybody expects ongoing content,
yep. And update
immediately almost, so you've got to make sure that you're, taking into account what everybody's seeing, because you're going to be confronted with a whole lot of, views and opinions of your game that you hadn't seen before. You need to be able to, intelligently respond to that and, start iterating and getting updates and bug fixes and even new content out there as soon as possible.
And customer support. Be responsive, but also selective, just like you were talking about the forums. Don't read the forums, but because you can't please everybody all the time. Not everyone's going to be happy, ever.
No, they're not.
There's always going to be someone that's complaining. And you probably don't want to, well, let's take care of this one problem that this one person is complaining about. Dark Child, what's up, dude?
Hey, Dark Child.
Dark Child. You don't want to take care of this one problem that, this one person thinks is so important, but nobody else has a problem with. That's probably not at the top of your list, I would imagine.
You should have, when you launch, you should have at least a base amount of data to see where people are having problems. And so the more you can rely on actual data coming back to you versus what you're reading on Reddit, the better off you'll be. Because just because, the loudest group is not necessarily the largest group. And so that's where, it helps to have some base level form of analytics, in your game in some way, shape, or form. Because
exactly.
It does tell you, if you've got a feedback loop that's coming in and saying, you've got an awful lot of people that are quitting halfway through the second level. That tells you there's something wrong in that level.
Yep.
You know, there's not just some random reason that a large percentage of your players are going, I'm done at this level right here. You know, that's something that you need to know, and you can react to it accordingly, you know, versus seeing, you know, what everybody or, you know, what people are bitching about on the Steam forums or on Reddit.
Yep. Wanted to show that to you, Dark Child. The new accessible controller that Microsoft is making. It looks pretty amazing. The magic of trophies. Yes, the magic
and
of
that's
trophies.
an easy way to do it. You know, there's been a whole lot of hubbub and uproar about whatever that software was that Civilization was using, Red Dawn or Red something, you know, that was in there. And the argument is, well, they shouldn't be taking my information without me knowing it. Okay, yes, I'll give you that much. But at the same time, these tools are what's helping the developers or the publishers that are relaying this on to the developers. It's doing more than just like grabbing your email address.
Right.
You know, it's actually saying, you know, we have issues on this level. We have issues, you know, with this boss, or, you know, no one is using X character as much as they're using everyone else. You can get that level of analytics in a game, but, you know, the trophies are an easy way too. You know, that's a very simple way that you can add analytics to your game, you know, by having an achievement for getting to the end of each level or playing as a particular character. You can chart those achievements and see where you're, you know.
Then it doesn't feel so intrusive.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get the same level of data, but you're getting data. You know, you're getting an understanding that there's an issue here or there. So, yeah, absolutely worth it.
Well, my friends, look at this. Thank you guys so much. If you're not following, please follow. Let's talk about the giveaway one more time. One more time right here. Bam, giveaway.
You can click on the screaming guy at the bottom of the page too. Not me and Andy, the screaming guy underneath us.
Is there a screaming guy underneath us? Awesome.
Yeah, I used your.
Oh, use that link of the guy going, ah!
Yeah.
So it's a premium pass to the Business of Indie Games Virtual Summit, which is how much it's worth, $100?
Actually, it's worth $250 or $150.
$250.
You can get one now for $99, but then the closer it gets to the show, it goes up to $100. Like next week during the show, it goes to $150, $200 during the show, and if you wait until after it, it's actually $250.
Right. Wouldn't the best idea be to gather a group of dedicated users, testers, and supplement their findings and results with the discussion board? Well, you probably don't want to have testers after you release the game, so it's a little late then.
And it's, yes, but that should be part of your QA process, Darkchild. You can't anticipate all of the hiccups and the problems that you're going to see until you've got something that's literally in front of thousands and thousands of people. You know, that's why you see the typical, and I'll use Blizzard because their development pipeline is pretty well known. You know, they have a friends and family alpha of a game or an expansion or something along those lines. And then they do a closed beta where they send out invites. Closed betas are good because you can literally pick the type of people you want feedback from. And then they do an open beta where everybody can get in, but you understand that, you know, it's a beta. And then, you know, those things take time, you know, and so they take all of that data and put it back, you know. So for, you know, initial feedback and QA early on, then yes, getting that group of people, that's basically a closed beta. But you gotta have a big net to catch them. Yeah, Stardock does the same thing.
Stardock.
Anyways, so yeah, got derailed. The
Always derailed. That's what we do.
We should just call this show the, you know,
Derailed
and its tangents. So yeah, if you wait till after the show next week, after the summit next week, it's $250 to get access to all this stuff. right now, if you go, I guess through the weekend, it's only $99. Or on Monday, we're going to give away one for free. So, get signed up, and Indy taught me how to use these handy dandy little things that gives you all kinds of options for doing, stuff in there. Oh, I obviously need to update the days left because there's not 31 days left on that thing.
Yeah, you have to go in there and make sure you got the right day.
Exactly. So yeah, check that out. Even if you don't win or don't sign up, you can still watch it for free next week on the 24th to the 27th.
Ouch.
You don't get like unlimited access to it, but you can get all the knowledge for free.
But with the other one, you get unlimited look-ins.
Yeah.
Unlimited look-ins. Excellent. Anybody else have any questions?
Going once.
Going twice. Lamb. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks as always, folks.
Yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday. For Feature Creep. So what do we? Well, we don't have it actually confirmed anything. Unlimited power. Oh, I like that.
It's a complete virtual summit, Darkchild. It's everything that all the talks have actually already been done, and they're on YouTube.
Yep.
It's like, I signed up for this like weeks ago before we started talking to them in terms of, cross promotion type stuff. And so I already have access to all the videos. So if you sign up now, for $100, you get access to everything that you can watch like over the weekend or whatever.
Yep.
You don't have to fly anywhere. It's the best kind of
You
conference.
just wake up. You can watch it on your phone probably.
Don't even have to wear pants.
Well,
Always a bonus.
my life. Yes, so our next show is at Wednesday at 11 a.m. and then 11 a.m. Pacific, and then Thursday at 12:30 Pacific.
And always send us a note. If there's something that you want us to talk about, you want us to go over a topic, or, one of the folks that had a recommendation for an interview that we can do.
Yeah.
Let us know. I mean, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on, my actual email address, which, to be honest, is probably better than Twitter because I'm horrible about checking Twitter. But reach out and let us know. I mean, we want to make sure that we're giving you all content that is helpful. And so Indy and I can sit over here and brainstorm all day long about things that we think are helpful. But, we want to hear from you all.
Yeah. Yes, we do. And that
Cool.
music's groovy. All right. Thank you guys so much. There's the Twitter link. Peace out, everybody.
Thanks, y'all.